right, guys, welcome to another episode of Mac Yak. This is number 15. So we've been around for a little while now, so we're starting to get established, I guess.
Yeah. We never thought we'd made it past 3, but here we are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we got our new permanent member here, Steve. So, yep, he is one of our core members now.
You're stuck with me now.
Yes, you're stuck with me.
We've adopted it. We can have 32 members, right?
132 followers we have right now, I think, on our subscribers.
Nice.
On YouTube. So, yeah, we're doing pretty good right now. Tonight, we got a very special guest. A lot of you guys probably know this guy's name. He is the moderator? Yeah, he's the moderator of Low End Mac Facebook group and a columnist for the website. I don't know, for the website?
The Low End
Mac, okay. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and welcome Dan Basher. Is that how you say your last name? Basher?
Basher, yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Dan. It's all yours.
So, hi everybody. We've been writing for Low End Mac for 10 years this July, and kind of ran into Dan Knight on Facebook and began really playing around. I've been working with Macs since I was a kid, since about 1987 when I got technically Apple products, not Mac, but the 2C Plus was my first, and then I just kind of went from there. Then we had an LC, then we had a 6100, and the rest is history, as they say. So, my biggest area of Macs has always been kind of the audiovisual kind of area of using Macs and gaming. I write the Apple Tech and Gaming column for Mac, and one of the coolest things I've into lately that I've started to do is with CRT TVs.
Hold on a second, Dan. Greg, you are breathing heavy into the microphone.
Quit making love to your microphone there.
How about now?
I get Greg too excited about CRT.
I think you did, yeah.
Like, you keep talking and he's just getting more and more excited.
Well, he was getting louder. His breathing was getting louder and louder and louder. I'm like,
hey, it's hot in this house. Give me a break.
So I'm going to go and show the audience, one of my cool prized possessions. Like I started saying, I started getting into gaming and CRTs. The idea behind it is the fact that a large CRT, specifically a HD CRT in the 4.3 aspect, they didn't make really any LCD monitors consumer grade, really, over 21 inches. I've never seen one bigger than that. Everybody correct me wrong, I've seen bigger ones, but these commonly available were not bigger than that. So what do? You need like something a little bit beefier, something handle a larger picture, and that's where I come in here with my Sony Trinitron, a 4.3 Sony Trinitron, and of course you'll see a little flicker on there. It's a CRT, but it's a 36 inch. The downside of something this big is, and as you can see, I'll pan back a little further. I have a nice large entertainment setup with several of these, several devices, several Macs, and things all connected up to it. But these things weigh 230 pounds.
I don't even see a refresh rate going on.
Yeah, I don't either. It's actually pretty good.
Nice, yeah.
It's real
Looks
solid.
good.
Is that one of the ones with the DVI or HDMI, or is it just component?
It does. It has HDMI. So
Nice.
These are the ones with the HDMI are kind of rare. There's they only made them on a few models. The 4.3. So we play old games and things like that. It'll fill the screen perfectly, and even the oldest games like the from the NES stuff that you might look for a good analog set, I've had no problems with input lag. This is the KV36 HS420. And
oh, wow.
The HS420 has HDMI component, and multiple S video and AV inputs. So
Jeez. So that's the 36-inch version of it then?
yes, that's the
Wow.
thing.
Yeah, I had the 27-inch. So that has also does that got the video out ports as well? The
Yes.
AV out? Oh,
This is the
nice.
monitor out
Yeah.
as well. So
That's
Nice.
beautiful. That's what I love about those.
Yeah, my
Wish I
dad
had
gave
one
me
of those
his old
back in the
one,
day.
but it's just a 32 inch, and it's not a digital input or anything.
so
Nice either way.
what's great about it too, and here's the next part of what I want to explain in this segment, too, is over here. Then I have a scaler. I have it's a DVI gear, and try to get in close here so you can see the model. It's the DVI 3551A, and this has multiple inputs on it. I'll try to flip it around here without unplugging everything, but you have VGA, S-Video, the AV inputs, and then HDMI in and out on that. So you can pretty much do everything with this guy,
Nice.
which makes that real convenient. See my nice Wii, PS2, and EMAP and stuff in there, and multiple game consoles. One of my favorites here too is that I have the backward compatible PS3, which plays the PS2 disc as well. But
There's
at
only
any rate,
one thing I want to know. Where's the M64 at?
well, I used to own one of those. I ended up selling that one, unfortunately.
What?
Who
Oh,
sells
that's
their
the
N64?
that's the
I
best
do.
one.
You'll laugh. This is sacrilege, but I bought my N64 in '96 when it came out. And
Nice.
they sat around, and then it sat there for there was about 20 games at launch, and it took Nintendo forever to really get it going. I got impatient and said, I've had enough, so I want to wait until, I just stuck with the PlayStation, mainly focused on that. So I have a very large gaming collection here, the whole cabinet full of stuff here. That's my second passion besides Max is gaming, and I keep all my boxes and original collection too. So you can see my Dreamcast box and Vita, PS2. I got those classics up there. And anyway, though, but I just love playing with Apple and Sony gear. Always have, and that's kind of driven my passion for low-end Mac and all the stuff I do.
So how many times, if ever, do you leave that room?
With being a family guy with the wife and 2 children, I don't have as much gaming time as I'd like. But forgive me for a second. I gotta switch the camera back around here. But, don't have as much time as I'd like, but certainly have a lot of fun with it when I do.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, a whole room with a whole entertainment center. I probably wouldn't leave mine. I've got a teenage daughter, so I wouldn't really have to leave very often. She just wants me to leave her alone anyway.
Well, all my kids are grown and gone, so I don't have to worry about it.
Lucky.
Yeah, we can tell. Every time you call, you got another Mac.
So,
Y'all are just jealous.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. I see Jay with the X-Serves all the time. So.
Nah, all the time. This is a recent thing. Those are ready to be recorded.
All right. Since Mike has to actually bail out on us early, we normally do the Mike's Mac Shack at the end or close to the end.
Mike's belling. Why is Mike belling?
Because he has to take
Do
his wife
something.
somewhere. He has to
Because
do
my
something.
wife lost her driver's license and I have to leave early to take her to work.
Okay, we weren't going to go there, but
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Since
no
you
one
really,
told me
since you
that.
really had to know,
Well, you could have told me that later.
No,
All right,
you
Mike,
said
I'll be here later.
so Mike,
I will be asleep.
it's all on you right now. So it's all yours.
All right. Anybody watch Seinfeld?
Yes.
Nope.
No.
Well, that's good, I guess.
I watched
hated
3
that.
episodes when they were being recorded live, if that tells my age.
Oh,
I
there
hate
you go.
I hated that show. But he did have one redeeming quality. In a lot of the episodes, at least a few that I saw, he always had a 20th anniversary Macintosh sitting on his desk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been looking for one of these things for years. Jay's going to give you some pictures of it. This has got to be the absolutely sexiest freaking computer ever designed. I don't care what you say.
The Cube.
I agree.
I don't know.
Any 68K person will say that going into the PowerPC era, I 100% agree. The TAM is the sexiest Mac ever made.
Now I agree that I will agree that the Cube is a close second because it's pretty gorgeous itself. But so this $10,000 behemoth was way underpowered and not very expandable, even though it did actually have a PCI slot. But it was only a 200 megahertz PowerPC 603. But it did have one hell of a sound system.
Yeah.
I've only seen one of them in existence, actually operating. They're out there, but people want stupid money for them.
Yeah, I think there's a few people in low-end Mac that have them and frequently bring them up just because they can.
Yeah.
I've never seen one in person.
Yeah, I've never seen one in person.
Yeah.
I haven't.
I've never seen one, so hey.
I'd probably try to overclock it.
Somebody on the Facebook group
I
had.
paid money to watch you overclock it, Jay. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, there you go.
Put a
There's
sound at
somebody-
1.4 in there.
But so anyway, it was called the 20th anniversary Mac. It was supposed to be the 20th anniversary model of the Macintosh, except for the simple fact that it came out 21 years after the original Macintosh was initially sold.
So they were a little late to the draw.
Yeah, they were a little late to the game. But not a very good performing machine, but it is a good looking machine. So if you ever get the opportunity to buy one, please let me know because I want to rob you so I can buy one because they're going for upwards of $250 in iffy working condition.
That's it?
And they're not, yeah, like I said, iffy working condition. This is
But that's it?
questionable. Well, these are machines that aren't running very well or running at all.
Well, how rare are they?
Very.
I think they made about
100,000.
4,000 of them.
Wasn't it 100?
I thought it was 10,000 of them.
Maybe. Yeah, you're right.
No, they cost $10,000.
Oh,
Yeah, but I think they only made 10,000 of them.
They might have. I'll have to look that up. I'm not actually sure.
They were 10 grand brand new.
Yeah.
Some
They get
expert
delivered to
yarmouth.
you. Remember concierge? They would deliver them to you. A guy in white gloves and a limo would deliver it to you.
Nice. They should do that with every Mac Pro you buy now.
Yeah, yeah.
But Mike, what would you do with it if you had the TAM? What would you do with it?
Anything you can do in any other Mac. It's
You
just
would-
it's a Power Mac. I think a 6800 more or less, shoved into a very sleek, very slimline case. It was an okay machine. It wasn't the most powerful thing.
Yeah, and there's aftermarket CPU upgrades too.
And yeah, now if you upgrade them, then they can be pretty wicked. But the screens are very small. I think they're only 15-inch if I remember right, because they're LCDs.
They look
they actually-
smaller than that. I don't know. You sure?
I think they're 15-inch because they share it with I think the PowerBook 1400 or the 5300.
Yeah, I think it's probably 15.
It's a laptop screen is what it is.
Did those things, did they run a laptop size hard drive or regular?
As far as I know, they had a regular size hard drive in them.
Huh.
It was
I've
a
never
pretty big
actually-
machine.
I've never actually taken one apart. I've never actually had my hands on one, so I can't truthfully answer that. But
Well, Mike would be lucky. He'd probably get the prototype one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
No
probably.
kidding.
I doubt that. If
The
there's even a,
prototype ones actually had bigger LCDs.
Jeez.
He'd probably get a prototype that projects a keyboard on the desk or something.
No kidding.
well, this was. You think about it. This computer was kind of a design element in the G5, the G4, G5 iMac with its all-in-one design. Because
God,
They
that
kinda-
front drop CD. Ooh.
yeah, that was
that-
always cool, and the
and
Bose
look-
sound system was always nice too.
Yeah,
So
but
that-
the drive door always broke off.
That
Yes, it
LCD is only a 12.1 inch.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah,
I
I
think it's
didn't-
a
I didn't-
600.
Yeah, I didn't think that was 15 inches. That didn't look like 15 inches.
Yeah. It'd be nice if
You
it
think,
was, but
you think it could play Unreal Tournament?
it does have an ATI 3D Rage 2 chipset, so probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With the
that's
processor
what matters.
upgrade, it might be able to. I do
Yeah.
know that I think Newer Power, I believe, was one of the few companies that actually made a G3 upgrade chip for it.
I think
Well,
there's an extremely rare G4 one too.
Is there?
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of. I mean, I know there was companies at one time that were making different backs for them, so you could put different cards and stuff in them. And
Well, heck, anybody that
around
could
with
afford that thing would have the money to blow on doing whatever they wanted with it.
Yeah, and I remember seeing photos. If you have an upgrade card, there was this panel that Sonnet and Newer Technology sold.
Mhm.
They call it a hunchback thing
Yeah.
because it's like this weird piece of plastic because the heatsink is so big that you have to take off part of the back of the case.
yeah, pretty much.
So as long as you don't look at the back, it's okay.
Party in
Well,
the front.
Very few people ever looked at the back of them, but if anybody ever comes across a chance to get one, grab it if you can. It's like I said, it's not really computer-wise, it's not really anything to write home about, but it sure is nice looking.
So
Yeah.
it looks like they made 12,000 of them and released 11,601, and the remaining 339 were kept by Apple. 399 rather were kept by Apple for spare
parts.
parts.
Oh my good lord, those poor Tims.
Somewhere in the basement in Cupertino.
Yeah.
Probably.
That was back in the era when they built reliable machines that rarely broke down.
Well, I don't know. This was a pretty experimental machine. I mean, they shoved
They
the
ran
desktop.
really hot too.
Yeah,
Hey,
they
Brock
shoved the
wants to know-
desktop grade computer into the space of a laptop.
Brock wants to know if for $10,000 can it run OS 10.14?
Hell no. Not unless you
Actually, if you put a G3 upgrade card on it and you hacked it, you probably could.
No, not 10.14, 10.14.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Oh,
it'll run 10.1.4, but not 10.4.
that's what I was saying.
No, 10.14 or 1.4 or whatever.
Display a.
If I said
10.1
10.1.4, that's different. Yeah.
you could display 10.14 if you had a
there you go.
if you had a VNC client and just could display on it. That's about it.
Yep.
Yeah, it did have TV tuner functionality, I believe. At least
Yeah,
at
it
some, yeah, some models.
So, but
All
make
right.
sure if you ever find one, make sure you get the subwoofer because that's where the power supply is.
Oh,
Mike,
really? I
let's
didn't know that.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
It's like a cube. It has an external power supply, but it's built into the subwoofer.
That's like the ColecoVision Atom. The power supply is built into the printer.
Yeah.
I have one. I have one of those, by the way.
I do too.
Oh,
Those
nice.
are cool.
Oh my lord.
All right, Mike. We appreciate the update there, and we'll if you want to drop out whenever you have to, we'll keep you in here and
I'm
ask you
gonna
some
stay around.
questions.
I'm gonna stick around as
Yeah.
long as I can.
Oh yeah, we just wanted to get you in there so you got your segment in. So good to go. All right, we're going to go ahead and to our next topic here. Quick update on the Classic Mac OS Challenge because we forgot to mention that last week because we had so much stuff going on in our chat yak last week that we forgot all about this. So Jay, take it away.
Yep. I did the Classic OS challenge with macOS 9 on my 17-inch iMac G4. A little bit of hard drive issues in the first 2 days. Then I swapped out the hard drive and I was good to go. I actually did a lot of work on it during the week, and I believe only James has. I don't know if he finished the challenge, but James did I forgot what he did. He might have done the Power PC challenge at the same time I was doing the OS9 challenge.
No, he was doing, I think, the same one as you.
Okay. And then there was Jake, blind PC guy. He was doing the Power PC challenge. That's it.
Yeah.
But his computer broke on day 3 or 4, so he couldn't finish it. But I had a lot of fun. It's still on my desk. I use it every day for Dreamweaver, Photoshop, iTunes, especially with the old school visualizers on it. And it's I had a lot of fun with it. So let's see. James didn't finish it. Work got in the way, but I think he made it up to 5 days. So.
James, when does work not get in the way for you, bud?
Work got in the way. Oh, you're supposed to do the work on the classic OS9.
That's the whole
Exactly.
That was the whole point of the challenge.
But especially when it came to music, I mean, I got the Harman-Kardon Soundsticks, which is amazing sound. But for the G4, let me see if that reaches. I got these little Pro speakers.
Oh yeah,
and
very
I
nice.
was almost literally blown away by the sound that these things produce. I had no idea they were that good.
That's why I have so many of them.
yeah, they are nice.
So,
I wish I had the iFire to power them
Oh
on
yeah.
other systems.
Maybe we could reverse engineer that. That's
See, one of these days,
much to it.
one of these days, I'm gonna
have
try
a
to talk.
friend. I have a friend that wants to rebuild the iFires and make new ones and resell them. I'm not going to mention who, but you might be able to figure it out.
I've been wanting to try to talk Greg out of a pair of those for my G4.
I'm still waiting for the stickers.
Well,
Yeah.
we're going to be waiting a while for that, I think.
What, a pair of Pro speakers?
No,
Yeah.
for the iMac G4, the lampshade.
Oh, hell, I'll send you a pair.
There you go.
See, you lost out, Greg. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next topic here. Right now, everybody's in kind of a limbo right now. I don't know if anybody saw, but Apple put out that their next keynote is coming out on, the 25th of this month, correct?
Yeah, it sounds right, yeah.
Okay, So the question is, should you buy a new Mac today or wait until after the keynote and see what comes out?
I'd say buy today, because whether you buy today or next month, it's going to be the same garbage they've been pushing for years.
Probably.
I agree with that.
The only difference is they might lower the price.
Well,
Have you seen the current price tag on the Trash Can Pro?
Yeah,
what,
it's
5
hilarious.
years?
It's somewhere between absurd and stupid.
Yeah.
Besides, if they
Apple
release
does
a new,
lower prices.
if they're releasing a new Pro on the 25th, as soon as they release it, they're going to cancel the old one because that damn thing's so freaking old now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but people still
Things
buy
should be
it for full
$1,000
price.
now.
Yeah, but we thought that we all thought that would happen with the new Mac Mini, and yet they're continuing the old Mac Mini as the cheap model for the Mac Mini lineup.
But a Mini is also a consumer grade item. A Pro isn't.
But the problem with the Mini is I think the Mini is just way overpriced for what's in it. I mean, to be honest with you, it's too overpriced. You don't get a monitor, you don't get a keyboard, you don't get a mouse, and
Don't get a
you
power
could-
supply.
Yeah, you can almost buy a MacBook for the same price.
Just get a 2012 is the way to go on the Mac Mini.
Exactly, I agree with that.
I used to be
Yeah.
very focused on before Mac Rumors had the purchase guide. Someone else did it, and I was always very focused on those. Like, oh, do I want to buy a Mac now? A month from now, they might do this or they might do that. But after 2012, it really didn't matter because you got better specs, but you also got more throttling to go with it, and all these issues that have been plaguing Apple hardware for years now.
Keyboards.
If I buy a new Mac today, it'll be a used one.
Yep.
So
Same here.
Yeah.
when the Mac Pro comes out, I can't afford it anyway. So
Well,
Yeah.
nobody's going to be able to afford it, but it should make the trash can ones a little bit cheaper on the used market.
Yeah,
Not that I
because
want
then you
one
can
of
just
those.
buy 'em.
Who's going to want one of those, like Jay just said?
Well, yeah, but you can buy it, got it, and literally make it into a trash can. Maybe that's what a trash can.
Oh, I'm going to buy
I
a
think if
$600 to $700 trash can. Nah.
Exactly.
But I think what's going to happen is if they release a new Mac Pro and people actually do take to it, I think that'll be a kind of a boon to us because that'll bring down. I think it'll bring down some of the prices on the cheese graters.
Oh, the 4,1, 5,1.
Yeah, because those things are still in a very high demand because people don't like the trash can.
But here's the thing, though, Mike, and I don't think they're going to come out with something that people are going to buy because look at the trash can one. You know, there's not a lot of them being sold out there, probably. I don't know what, because they don't release their sale numbers anymore. But to be honest with you, you don't see a lot of those. A lot of people want the cheese grater stuff. But what happens if Mac or Apple says, "Oh, we're going to come out with this little all-in-one"? Because I'm thinking that's probably what it's going to be. If you look at the iMac Pro, or that's kind of the way I think they're going to be going towards this. I don't think they're coming out with a modular one like everybody's talking about.
Well, it might be modular, but it might be nothing more than a Mac Mini with module slots for their custom,
I don't
modules.
think so. I think
eGPU chassis is what you're going to get. You're gonna
Yeah.
with an eGPU chassis.
Exactly. You're going to get a little external
It's
eGPU,
modular.
and that's what's considered modular.
Yeah, but going back to the keynotes or W something,
WWDC.
That one.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to announce any hardware at all. It's all going to be about the Apple TV and their TV shows and stuff.
That's a good possibility, too, because although they were hoping that they would release something about the Mac Pro the last keynote, and
True.
but they didn't.
They're speculating the new Apple TV already.
Well, no. Their TV service, not
Okay.
not
Because
hardware.
I just got my 4K recently.
No, I don't think they're coming. I think Jay's right though. I think they're going to be coming out with a new service, a TV service, because what was
but they have an event
Netflix
coming up
or
soon, though. I think that's when they'll release it, not
Which I'm
not
not opposed to a
WWDC.
TV service because they say it's going to be free to all Apple TV owners. So, hey.
exactly?
I somehow don't believe that's going to be true. They did the same thing when, you get 5 gigs of storage on, iCloud, and now all of us are paying what? I mean, well, me, I'm still paying 99 cents, but, most people are paying upwards of $5-10 for a giant iCloud because the iPhones and everything else needs giant storage, and Apple never bothered to upgrade their pricing structure. So, it'll be free now, but it ain't going to be free in a year or two when you're paying $10 a month.
And
I can go back to black.
But remember, I don't know if you remember when Apple Music came out. Okay, they gave us what was it, like 3 months free? Mm-hmm. Once you had an iPhone or whatever, you got 3 months free, and then after that 3 months, guess what? You had to go pay for it. I'm beginning to think that it could be something similar to that because, to be honest with you, an Apple TV service with free for all Apple users. I mean, yes, it'll sell a lot of hardware, but the cost of that, because they got to pay royalties on everything they show on there.
Well, it'll probably be advertisements. So, like, Hulu has, a limited supply of stuff that's free with ads. Then you pay the Plus version, you still watch the damn ads.
And by the way, I don't think they have to worry about royalties because Apple is producing the shows.
This is true.
Okay.
But they still have things to pay.
Well, I don't see Apple doing ads because that is not in Apple's normal behavior or their ecosystem. Ads translate to being a security risk. I mean, that will synonymously make them no better.
I'm not saying there'll be third-party
Facebook.
ads. You could be watching a MacBook ad for 5 minutes straight while you're trying to watch a 30-minute video.
Okay, but if it's all Apple-made content, who's going to watch that?
Yeah, because Apple's known to be making such interesting stuff.
Exactly.
Some of the shows and the scripts that they've got lined up actually sound pretty decent.
Yeah, if they can get anything off the ground.
I don't think it's going to be on par with Netflix or YouTube, because they have a little bit more experience doing this now. But
Yeah, but everyone has to start somewhere. When Netflix's instant stuff was streaming, it was mostly garbage to begin with. So
Well, and you only got like 3 free movies. I remember that because I started out Netflix with only the DVDs. Then they went to the streaming, and you only got like 3 movies a month you could stream. Then they went to pretty much unlimited. Now they're basically streaming only, no more DVD stuff. Pretty much. So
yeah, you can do DVDs, you just got to pay extra for it.
Well,
Exactly.
let's say Apple does with the the TV app stuff that they did with iTunes, that they did with Apple Music, because we can say all day long, blah blah blah. They're getting into the game late. Except the reality is, Apple, unlike anybody else, if they continue with their history, actually can get into the game late, do it better in a way, or tie in the people with their ecosystem and kick ass with it and kind of run other people out of a certain industry.
Well, and I think you're right there too, because Apple has been known to do that. They wait and see how people react to stuff,
Agreed.
and then they do it a lot better. Take, for instance, iTunes. You had Napster. You had all other kind of stuff out there.
Oh yeah,
Apple came in and did it the right way, and guess what? That
Real Player.
but
kind of took over.
Then look at Apple Maps.
Well, that's different.
That's a good one, Jay. That's a good point.
Well, you could say the Pippin, the Newton. There's a bunch of different things out there that Apple has.
And iTunes started
flopped.
out as a great music player, but what was it, like 6 years ago? It just became bloatware. Like
It is now. It's like you can't even find. In fact, Jay just got me into Plex, and that is, I tell you what, that's blowing iTunes out of the water. I probably won't even use iTunes anymore. But getting back on subject here, some of the new stuff we're talking about, coming out, if you guys are willing to actually put down money to buy something now versus waiting until after this keynote. Now, granted, no new hardware may come out of this keynote, but will you wait even longer because you're expecting a Mac Pro or something new to come out?
I'm not in the market for anything right now, so I can wait as long as it takes, basically.
Yeah, I'm going to wait till they're used.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you wait no matter what, because you're going to get them. You're either going to get a better deal on the previous generation stuff that comes out, or you're going to be wowed by whatever the new thing is, and it's going to be cheaper than the previous.
I've learned to read between the lines when it comes to the keynotes, because when they were announcing the Mac Mini, it sounded great. The processor sounded good, 10 gig Ethernet, and all of the stuff they were saying, I kind of drowned it out, and I focused on what they weren't saying. And indeed, the graphics card is I mean,
garbage.
I got better graphics in this lighter than the Mac Mini does in that whole chassis. So, there's always, when it comes to PR, advertising, and presentation, Apple is extremely good at choosing just the right words and omitting stuff that they don't want out there.
Well, they had a good teacher. Steve Jobs was actually a very good salesman. And you notice that they still use the same formula. Tim Cook still uses that same formula, which I don't think he does it as good.
Yeah.
But they still use that same formula. I don't think they're ever going to change it.
Yeah, so I don't know if they announce new hardware. I don't buy new hardware to begin with. The newest Mac I have is a 2015 MacBook Pro, and I got that used.
Well, I have a 2017 iMac 27-inch, and I have a 2017 MacBook Pro. I mean, that's my 2 newest ones. Other than that, everything else is pretty much I buy it used. So
my newest is a mid-2012 MacBook Pro.
With Q-tips in it.
Yeah, there you go.
I beat all you guys. I got a 2008 MacBook.
Oh, come on. I got a 2008 Mac Pro as my newest right now. So
what about you, Dan?
My 2012 Retina is my newest.
Very
Wow,
good.
so I got the newest stuff here.
Damn right you do.
You
Well,
always
the
do,
MacBook Pro I
GT.
just mentioned.
Thus,
I
that's
don't
the
even have
reason
it
why
anymore.
I'm the one doing the stream.
But this is my
Yeah.
favorite.
It's a good point. It is the reason why you're doing the stream.
Well, that's just because you're older than the rest of us and have a better retirement plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
17-inch. The 17-inch 2011 is my favorite.
Oh, there you go.
I actually just sold one of those for parts only.
Yes,
believe
you
it or
did.
not, for about $240
Yeah,
just
I
for
got it.
parts. No hard drive and no memory.
and a piece of Ethernet cable.
Yeah, he sold me the memory. It's running on the iMac I'm talking to you on right now.
There you
Yeah, and I
go.
kind of regret selling you that now because I could have used it.
Yeah, you could have.
That I will
could've.
talk to later on in the show here because we got a topic for that. So
David has a 2012 Retina as his newest. James has an 07 MacBook for his newest.
wow.
And Nick has a 2008 Mac Pro that's in the closet, so that doesn't count.
Yep.
And my wife actually has the 2015 MacBook Pro that she confiscated from me. Well, okay. She needs it more than I do.
All right, so we're going to segue into our next topic here. Apple's ecosystem, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We want to talk a little bit about how you guys think that the Apple ecosystem, is it good? Does it suck? Or is it just plain ugly?
Well, the Apple ecosystem a few years ago, it Steve Jobs' old saying, "It just works." It did. It just worked.
Used to.
And
Used
and
to.
things, the build quality started getting cheap, and the coding on the software started really, really sucking. And it no longer just works. It's really overrated, in my opinion.
Well, I think the
I would
quality
partially
control.
agree with that.
Yeah, I think the quality control has gone down in Apple as far as staying in their ecosystem. Yeah, we get sucked into it because you buy an iPhone and you buy all these apps on the iPhone, and guess what? You're kind of stuck there because if you go to an Android or some other operating system, God forbid, then that you're going to have to rebuy all that stuff again. So that they kind of get you shoehorned into it, and then boom, you're stuck. You can't go nowhere.
Well, let's be honest, and I think this goes for most people, at least most people I know, me included. We're not in this for the pretty Macs, at least not anymore. We're in
Not
it for the
anymore.
operating system.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have no problem going to a Hackintosh if the next Mac Pro sucks. I'll probably build a Hackintosh, but I want my Mac OS 10. That's what I want.
That's because Jay will never ever touch Windows.
Yeah. But that is because part of the Apple ecosystem that was started back in the Mac Classic era is a better operating system, period. Well, then you go into the ecosystem side of it where you've got iTunes, you've got the iPhone, you've got the iPad, and you got iCloud, where everything does, for the most part, just work unless something goes on the fritz or something goes stupid or they misprogram something. And it's also, as we have seen in the last, even 6 months, Apple is the authority on security, period. Other than, and now part of that is, in my opinion, this is my opinion, is because of the fact that they are based on BSD, which is the authority on security, period, for servers and workstation machines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true.
By the way, people, what do we think about Rocky's beard? I think he
Oh,
kicks ass with that beard.
I actually kind of like it.
Keep it. One of us.
Yeah,
One of us.
One of us.
I think the ecosystem is polluted. It's polluted with buggy code. I cannot format a hard drive because disk utility is unusable.
Oh yeah,
It
doesn't work anymore.
I cannot switch. What is it called? Mission control. I cannot switch desktops because my dock will persist. It pops up whenever I don't want it, and all those hundreds of little things make it a very poor experience. That when I do the Mac OS 9 challenge, I'm actually loving it even more because that actually just works.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I'm actually, and I've told Jay this before, I'm an Appleseed tester, okay? And I've sent bug reports in, many of them, and you always see a new version come out, and then your same bug is still there. So you're like, what are you guys doing over there?
Yeah.
You have a bunch of beta testers, and the forums for the Appleseed portal are like, we keep in touch with each other, and we talk to each other, and we say, hey, Apple isn't doing this. I mean, there's a lot of discord over there too, because there's a lot of frustration, because it's like, why do you even have us if you're not going to listen to us, and fix stuff? We're actually in a position to even ask for certain modifications to it, saying, like, hey, this doesn't really work too well. Let's do it this way. In fact, the iOS version before this, I think it was 11, when they came out with especially the iPad, when you had to swipe. Remember how you had to quit apps? You had to swipe before. Well, they changed that, and they were going to do it with an X on each one, which made it almost impossible to close out apps. I and a bunch of other people sent in a request saying, this is stupid. Do not release this, because trying to hit the little X on there was just a pain in the butt. Well, they listened to us for that, and they finally went back to where they swipe. We said, get rid of that freaking task switcher and go to what you had before, where you could swipe everything. And one of our things was put a button in there to close all apps. And guess what? It's not been in there since. It's never going to be there, because Apple's thing is like those, all those open apps are not supposed to be doing anything, but they're still there. Okay. They may not be running. They may be frozen, but like Jay said, the code is sometimes buggy. And then when you wake them back up from their sleep, they tend to forget stuff or lock up, and you have to go and do the little swipe, dance.
Now, even on to that topic, sorry to cut in, but even when you've got those things running in the background, they're supposed to be frozen, they're supposed to be asleep. I can attest, because my mom, my other family members, they don't swipe those things away. They leave them in the background, then they wonder why their battery drains in 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yep. One of the biggest things to that is using anything that has to do with the GPS.
Yep. Yeah.
That will drain your battery.
Yeah, make sure you always set that to only when I'm using the application, or just turn it off.
Like for instance, Waze is one of those apps that will go into the background, and you'll see a little green bar up there that says Waze is actively using.
Yeah, the little blue GPS bar. Yeah.
You actually have to swipe up and quit the app in order for it to stop using the GPS.
Yeah.
There are certain apps that do that.
Google Maps does that.
But to circle back to the ecosystem, phone or iPad, whatever you got, phone and Mac communication has always been, or even the iPod before the phone came around, has always been top notch. I've never had any issues. And in the last year or so, it got even worse with iOS 12. And I know it's an iOS issue because my wife is running High Sierra still. And dude, you connect your phone to the Mac and you try to import your pictures. It just sits there for 10 minutes, then you get a list of errors. Could not import the following 600 pictures because of a corruption.
Yep.
What corruption?
Yeah.
No, there's no corruption.
Yeah,
there's fine.
I had the same issue with iCloud. And so I think it was iOS 11 at the time. I had an iPhone 8. I brought the iPhone into the Apple store, and I said, I can't do an iCloud backup here. What's the problem? Oh, well, back up to your computer, and then, erase the phone. I said, I don't have 256 gigabytes of, free storage on my, latest Mac that could read this iPhone. And then when I finally got it working, all of a sudden iCloud stopped backing up, and it was because there was one file somewhere on the file system that was corrupt and it wouldn't back up. But there's no way to fix that except you delete the backup and try again. This ecosystem stuff really is starting to get to me, because there's a lot of edge cases here that we're running into more and more, where like a photo won't import, or me, an iCloud thing won't back up. That, I know it's not clean to do it. I know it's not the Apple way, but I would love if there was like some sort of utility like built into the Mac or the iPhone where you could say, okay, well, get rid of that one 200 megabyte file that's stopping your entire
Yep.
multi-gigabyte backup from commencing.
Yeah.
Or let's clear out any corrupted photos. If it's corrupt and you can't read it, get rid of it. What are you hanging on to it for? And maybe it's just they have to be more strenuous with their data clearing out and stuff like that. And maybe it'll get better. I know they just did the whole, I think it was iOS 12 had the whole new file system and everything, but there's a lot of things that need to be worked out here.
Yeah.
I think it's part of the problem is they're focused on way too much stuff at once.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're spread way too thin. And I see you, Greg, I see you typing in the chat. It's why you pay for iCloud photos, but you shouldn't have to pay.
I shouldn't.
USB or FireWire connectivity has been around for the last,
I
18
shouldn't,
years.
but I do that because it's on all my devices. It's
Well, I'll share my story about that. So I have iPhone 8, the biggest one at the time. It was the 256. I filled it up with tons of 4K footage. I could not, for the life of me, download anything over USB 2. It was terrible. It would just error out. It would crash. Whatever. I had to take forever to actually get all that stuff off. Like try different machines, only do one file at a time, and stuff like that. When I was done, after I had everything backed up on my desktop, I turned on iCloud Photos. It deleted like half the photos for no reason. So
Makes sense.
I'm glad that I did the backup before I turned iCloud Photos on. Now once it's on and it's running, I'm fine with it. It works pretty well. I don't have too many issues. But I think a lot of us have just a reason to be wary with this iCloud stuff. To just you do an extra backup before you do anything, because you're going to lose some pictures there or something. It's more easy to get back.
iCloud has come a long way. It's better than Apple Me.
oh yeah, definitely way better.
Better than iTunes.
Way better.
But it's the little things. When I used to do support for these things, like, oh, my phone got wet. Do you have a backup? No. Okay, you're screwed.
Yeah, you're not getting your photos back.
It's on, but your port is corroded. We can't hook it up to a computer. You can't do anything. Oh, all I need is my, name something. All I need is my contacts. Oh, we have to sync it through iCloud, but your thing won't connect to the network anymore. Can we just export the contacts? Oh, I think there's a third-party developer that makes an app for this, but we can't install the app because there's
But
you
back up
can't
your
do
app
anything.
anymore? No.
But
There you go. You can't do that.
But keeping on topic with the ecosystem, what Jay just said there though is using iCloud for my contacts and everything else. If I get a new phone or have to change out phone, which I actually had to do one time, I've only had to do it once, where I had to get a new phone because my old phone, the camera didn't work on it for some reason after about having it for 3 months. I went in there, and as soon as I got it in the Apple Store, I sit there and said, restore backup. Boom. Everything was back exactly like I had it before.
Yeah, but the thing is,
So when
if
it works,
you
it
have
works.
that one corrupted picture, your entire backup is useless. You can have
mine was
toggle
doing that for
switches
months.
that says, I want my contacts, I want my photos, I want my app data, I want this, but I do not want that. It's either all or nothing.
Yeah, I agree.
And here's even the bigger problem, though. Here's the problem that I have that's the biggest issue with iCloud and the Apple ecosystem, and it has pissed me off for years, is the fact that they have never once integrated that stuff. If I sync my iPhone with my computer, my Mac, and I've got iTunes on here, I've got iCloud on here, everything is all synced into their ecosystem. As soon as I sync my iPhone, I get duplicates of everything because it doesn't realize whatever's on the iCloud that's on my iPhone isn't the same that's on my Mac, and all of a sudden now I've got duplicates of all this bullshit, and it pisses me off. So
I've had that
happened
issue
to me
still in
many
Mac
times.
days.
Yeah, that's still an issue. That's the reason why I don't sync contacts and stuff on my computer now. I just use iCloud specifically and let it migrate to all my systems.
Yeah.
So
but we shouldn't have to do that.
I agree
Hey,
with
Rocky,
you. I
that
agree.
beard has made you a little bit more aggressive, bro.
I think that one thing I would like to see improved in their ecosystem is, depending on your data in iCloud, there's different ways to get it. And, they've improved the iCloud.com website a little bit, but I would like to see a lot more. Like, if you go to the iCloud website and click on your account, you could download your contacts separately. There's like recover my file buttons and stuff like that. their photo viewer is pretty bad. You can only download one photo at a time. You know, you can't download a whole album and stuff like that. You
Yeah,
know,
at least it's encrypted.
Yeah, well, what I would like to see is, my data's here, it's in the cloud. What if I don't have access to my phone? What if I don't have access to my Mac? If you're going to make the iCloud.com experience not suck, you have to have some features in there like download an entire album of photos or give me a whole zip archive of my pictures and stuff.
Actually, you can actually do that by going to the web iCloud.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can't download everything. You have to select one by one by one. You have to hold shift and do a select. Last time I tried a few weeks ago.
I'll have to try it again, but I think you can now. I mean, but what I have is on my 2017 iMac, I actually have an iCloud library or a photo library here. So all the pictures I take on my iPhone automatically get uploaded to iCloud, and then it propagates to my computer and it downloads an original copy. So I have a copy on my computer that gets backed up to Time Machine as well. And then I also have that copy on iCloud. So I have, like Jay just said, 3 separate, points of backup there,
Yeah, if I select a photo, then the download button shows. But if I select an album, that button is nowhere to be seen. So, it's just the little things that I think we as power users tend to notice more. And I think their ecosystem when they had devices and less hardware.
Can you drag that album out to your desktop? Try
that. I can't drag it anywhere.
You should be able to. They used to be able to do that, drag stuff out of there.
You can't anymore.
What about you, Mike? What's your feelings on the Apple ecosystem?
I really don't have much of a say because I don't use them enough.
Okay, how about this?
I truthfully don't. I mean, I got my computer and it works.
Okay, how about this?
You guys are more into the advanced stuff than I am with the iCloud and all that crap.
You still use iTunes, don't you?
Truthfully, I mean I do. Truthfully, I barely use it anymore. I download all my crap on I buy and download all my stuff on my iPhone or my iPod. I very rarely use iTunes because it is so damn slow. And if you think it's slow on a Mac, try using it on a damn Windows machine. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely freaking ridiculous. It's gotten
Come on,
so
Jay,
bad.
you didn't puke there?
iTunes was great in 10. iTunes 10 was awesome. I love iTunes 10. And Snow Leopard, iTunes 10.6.3.
Oh yeah,
it still has cover flow. It's really snappy.
Yeah.
Like the integration with the iOS devices, at least the 32-bit era devices. Like if you have an iPhone 3GS, like I demonstrated in one of my articles recently, that I wrote about using your Mac as part of your media streaming service. I run my Mac Pro as my server, and then I have a 2009 Mac Mini hooked up with HDMI and optical, and then I get the 351 sound, and I control it all with the 3GS. The cover flow view that you get, you could just swipe right through. You could just hit a button and change from full screen to windowed, skip to the next thing, navigate. The Apple used to care.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with the ecosystem now. It's almost a second thought now.
I like Brock's suggestion. It's Apple ecosystem.
Yeah.
It's basically what it
The
is.
whole ecosystem, it's all the little things that add up. I used to have these discussions with friends, and I used to often bring it up myself to spark a discussion because I love that stuff. I used to be proud that I used Apple products. My computer or my iPod would do anything I told it to do, and it would do it well. I knew that I could always count on my computer to build a website, to type a document, to do anything I wanted to without issue, unless the hard drive failed or lightning struck or whatever. I simply cannot do that anymore. I sit down at my desk and I think my computer's going to turn on, but I cannot be as sure as I was back in the day. I know that my Safari or Firefox or something will start up when I click it in the dock, but I cannot be as sure as I used to be, and that's what bugs me.
Yeah.
That I basically lost faith in Apple's software.
That's a very, very good point.
And to be honest with you, I think that's started creeping in ever since we lost Steve Jobs. I mean, to be honest with you, he was a hardcore guy as far as quality and stuff. But once he passed away, the qualities just started, going
It's all about
downhill.
the numbers. All about the numbers.
The thing about Steve Jobs is he was a perfectionist.
Exactly.
He didn't want anything leaving without being just perfect.
Exactly.
Since you said that, if you look at old Mac OS versions, you realize that there's only like OS 10.4, which is one of the oldest ones I use. There's only 2 revisions of it. There's 10.46 and 10.411.
No, there's much more.
Oh, is there? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that were actually released.
He's
I
talking
could be wrong.
about retail versions. Of
Oh.
Well, now what are we on? 10.14.4 now on Mojave.
We're getting there.
I've already had 4 software updates on my damn iPhone, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Well, and that's a problem, I think, is they need to get rid of this annual, having to do a update annually.
They don't need the software as much as they do.
Mojave,
They could do small updates throughout the year or two, and then release a new version of whatever operating system, be it Mac OS, iOS, tvOS, whatever, as it's needed. I mean, hell, you don't see Microsoft release a new copy of Windows every freaking year. Hell, if they did, we wouldn't know what the hell to do.
Well, I don't know if you've ever. Well, we're going to talk about that in a little bit here because we got another subject on here.
But I'm just saying, and I'm not saying their business model is necessarily a good one, because they have a tendency to drag old things out a lot longer than they should sometimes.
Well, we'll talk about
usually
that.
It's their mistake, but But I think they're rushing things, and they're not. Things aren't. The quality just sucks.
Well, yeah, because remember, Steve Jobs didn't release something until he thought it was ready.
Exactly, it had to be just
and
right.
He would push people to get it ready on time. I mean, that's what he did. He did. He was. I hate to say it, but he was a slave driver.
Well, he was quality control, but it was just one guy.
It was him.
If Steve didn't catch it, then it went out to market.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's
I think there has been a dip in quality, and personally, just in my personal preference, I would rather them have the OS updates, be more. Yeah, release a security patch every few months or whatever the heck you got to do. But don't force me to upgrade Xcode. Don't force me to upgrade the Mac OS to the next version just because Xcode is updated and you want people to upgrade the OS. Don't do stupid things like that.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And the other thing now, I don't know if anybody else has thought about this, but we've been using Mac OS 10 since year 2001 now. Don't you think maybe it might be time for a refresh?
OS 11.
That ties back to
ARM OS.
Weeks ago that they don't have anyone left to make a decision to act something, whether it's a product name or a product itself. That's why.
Well, they just call it Mac OS now. It's not even the X isn't even in there.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's still OS 10. I mean, it's 10 point whatever now.
Well, they don't refer to it as that in their marketing materials. Just Mac OS, just like iOS.
Yeah.
But I haven't set foot in an Apple store since I left that company, because it gives me a rash just thinking about it. But before I left, there were already tables full of different watch bands and different watches with different sizes, with different colors, and you could mix them. I can't imagine what it's like now. They have a table for every revision MacBook Pro.
Like,
I don't even know. They're afraid to axe the product. They move it all around.
Yep.
You might want to mute there, Mike.
The iCat is involved now.
Yes, the iCat is pissed.
what?
She doesn't like the ecosystem either.
All right, guys.
I think he hears our conversation. He can't hear. He's deaf, but
We're going to move along here to our next topic. And this is a little treat here. Newton and eMate, both of them turned 25, the Newton turns 25, the eMate turns 22. Yep. So I'm going to throw this over to Steve. I think he knows a little bit more about these than I do.
hey, I got an eMate.
Isn't the eMate just a Newton only in laptop form?
We'll get to that. Don't jump the gun here.
Hey, the eMate's awesome. I have one. I have to.
It is an awesome machine. So the first message pad was the message pad, the
100.
original one. Didn't even have it had a name. Then they came out with the 100 and the 110. So the 100 and the 110 came out 25 years ago. And the biggest updates were they refined the screen a little bit, and battery life was improved. And I think they updated the ROM on there, and it was just much more stable and less buggy. And if you ever have a chance to pick up a Newton, the 2000s and the 2100s are great devices, but any one really is fun to play with. You can't do too much with them unless you get some tricky software on there to do some fun stuff. But
but don't forget to eat up Martha.
Yes, don't forget to eat up Martha, as The Simpsons have taught us. But what I think was really cool about these devices, and of course Steve Jobs killed them off when he came back to Apple, was they were just interesting. Apple was doing something that was sort of out there, and I don't know. It's just like it was a risk they took, and it didn't really pan out for them too well. But it's fun to look back at something 25 years ago, and it's basically the precursor to an iPhone. You had a data or fax PC card. You could put it in one of the PCI, MCIA, or whatever they were called slots. And, you could connect things wirelessly with the infrared, beam something to a printer.
Uh-huh.
I think they were pretty neat.
I never got the infrared to work on any Apple product.
Yeah, it's because there were different revisions. There's IRDA, and then there's regular infrared, and they mixed and matched a bunch. So there's actually a support document somewhere on the Internet Archive that sort of clears that up a bit. But basically, you have to have just the right things, otherwise you're not going to do anything else. But I just remember during the iMac introduction, the first one, Steve Jobs points out the infrared port on the front, and he's like, "Oh, you could beam your camera photos from your digital camera to your iMac," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, that's
right."
Apple ecosystem.
Well,
did the QuickTake have infrared, by the way?
No, it did not. Sadly.
So what good was it then?
The QuickTake was well before the iMac, but so the Newton was interesting, and the Newton 2000 was a very nice device. I have one, and then the 2100 was very similar to that. But so 22 years ago was the eMate 300, and this is basically a Newton that had a keyboard built in, and it was in sort of an iBook laptop, form factor. It was only sold to educational, institutions, and it was like their best-selling product. And because the eMate sold so well, now people were more interested in the Newton stuff. And then, just as it was picking up steam, they axed it. So,
well, the reason why it got axed, right?
Yeah, it was Steve Jobs, and because it was John Scully's idea. When
Exactly.
Steve Jobs came back, he said, "Nope, we're not hanging on to that."
Hey, Mike, don't you have an eMate?
Yeah, I still have an eMate 300. I loved it. I used to do everything on that thing. When I was a manager at Walmart, I used to do all my paperwork and everything on that thing. I had it all decked out. I had an extra memory card and everything in it. It was an awesome machine, neat. And the batteries last forever.
Yeah, they were really fine tuned. I mean, this was in the day where you could do a software update, but when you updated the ROM, that was done at the factory. So more or less, you were pretty much stuck with what they shipped out the door. So that's why when the 100 and the 110 came out, it was such a big improvement over the original one. The handwriting recognition was better and all this fun stuff. But yeah, the eMate 300 is really neat.
The eMate 300 was like the pinnacle of the entire Newton line.
Yeah.
It had the best of everything, and it was stable, and it was fast, and the handwriting recognition, while still not perfect, I mean, we're talking 1997 here, was awesome. And the fact that it had
probably
a keyboard,
better than we have on
truthfully,
iOS now.
And truthfully, with the keyboard on an eMate, you didn't even really need the handwriting recognition.
Yeah, the keyboard was good too. I mean, people compare it a lot to the clamshell iBook because it looks a little similar and it's got some of that translucent plastic going on and stuff. But if you see
a lot of it, definitely get
I'm
one.
just about to say, if you see one, pick it up. Or a Newton. I mean, they're fun to have. People, ask a lot of money for them because maybe they're a little crazy, but
eBay effect.
eBay effect.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well, the funny thing is
yeah, go ahead.
well, the eMate actually, the design of the eMate actually, a lot of that went into the G3 iMac too, with translucent plastics.
Yeah.
So you can actually thank the eMate for giving you guys translucent plastic iMacs and clamshells. Yeah.
Thank you,
I think of the laptop.
Well, when you think about also the beige Macs had translucent colored plastics on the insides.
They had the bronze keyboards too.
Yeah, that too.
I have a question for you guys and for everybody watching. Has Apple ever made a device with true all-day battery life? Because I know they don't do it today, even though they say all-day battery life.
iPod stock.
MacBook Air.
The Apple Watch.
No, even a MacBook Air, you can run it down.
The 11-inch, doesn't the 11-inch last the full 24 currently? Yeah.
Yeah, when you put it to sleep, maybe.
No, you can actually get about 8 hours or plus on one of the MacBook Airs. I did have one. I messed with it. It was
does a
11.
day have only 8 hours in it?
If you didn't do any internet
point.
or any radio, you had all the radios turned off, yeah, you might get 8 or 9 hours.
I could get 10 to 12 on an 11-inch or a 13-inch MacBook Air if I didn't have it connected to Wi-Fi.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying, and then it's pretty much useless then.
Yeah, because
But I
every
can
plane
get-
I've ever heard is like, all-day battery life. And then you look at the specs, and you have all the small print. They're like, oh, you get 5 hours on LTE. Oh, you get 8 hours on Wi-Fi. It's like, okay, my day is typically 16 hours or more.
But it's like the Apple Watch could do it.
By the way, I see it, Mike. I don't want your hand to get tired.
That's why I have one of these.
I get
on
30
my
hours.
iPhone.
I get 30 hours out of this. The only problem is it's so damn small. I go insane after 6.
There you go.
The old iPod Classic, the last few models of those, they could do it too.
Well, that's the reason why I have one of these on the back of my iPhone. It's one of those battery packs.
Yeah, but that's cheating.
So
that's cheating.
Good point.
But you know what? It lasts all day.
You know, this
Cheating.
iPod Touch, it'll last longer on battery than any iPhone, period. But that kind of makes sense. It was
Because
built
you don't
off
have
an
cellular.
iPod platform.
Because you don't have the phone.
iPhone platform. Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't have the
No
cellular.
GSM on there, yeah.
Yeah, that's your biggest battery hog right there is the cellular.
That's a good point.
Yeah, the cellular radio sucks down the power on an iPhone like crazy. That's one of the reasons I don't use my iPhone for a music player. I still have iPods. Because if I'm out somewhere, the last thing I need to do is worry about charging my damn iPhone if I have an emergency. I don't need to worry about, oh crap, I just had a car accident. Oh wait, I only have a 1% battery left because I've been blasting the music all freaking day.
Now, you know what's sad? I can do music. I can do about anything I want on my iPhone. If I enable, and I tested this the other day, if I enable low battery mode, my iPhone has twice the battery life, no matter what I'm doing. It has twice the battery life than if I never enabled it.
Because of how it impacts your connectivity.
I'm
It
showing
only
this
checks-
for.
It only checks mail if you open the mail app. It
Almost
It does stuff that it should be just doing normally. And, it's not hyperactive about it.
James is saying his old Nano 3rd Gen had amazing battery life, but that doesn't sound like all-day battery life.
Well, I mean, even Garrett said his Apple Watch Model 0, which is the same one I've got. I've got the original
Me too.
one. Still gets a day and a half. Well, I've never had mine get more than a day. I've had mine on all day today, and I'm at 65% battery.
When mine was brand new, I forgot to charge it one day. I got it through almost a day, a little over a day and a half. And then now I'm lucky if it does make it through the day.
Well, when I first got mine, okay, because you were playing with it, it's new and everything, so you're doing a whole lot of stuff, half a day. It was like dead. But now
mine's at 77, so it
I
usually
use
lasts
it
the day.
pretty much as a watch only. So I just I don't change
Same
the
here.
face any
Same
or
here.
anything like
So
that.
you're not playing Tetris on it, or
No,
you know,
I'm not doing anything. on it,
Pokemon
really.
Go. You're not,
No.
you know.
I don't even answer phone calls on my watch.
I don't answer phone calls. I don't read texts on it. I get alerts.
What the heck
on
are you
it.
using it for?
Well, I get alerts on it, and I look over to see, okay, who sent me a text? I'll go to my phone and look at the text.
That's what I do.
When Apple comes around and says, "Here's the new iPhone with 6 notches and all the weird stuff they're gonna do," and it has all-day battery life, and when you check the small print and it says all-day battery life on LTE while doing group FaceTime, I'll believe it. Until
There you
then,
go.
All right, guys, we don't have a topic overlay for this one. The 30th anniversary of the World Wide Web was just recently, correct, Steve?
Yep.
Why didn't you make
first?
an overlay for that one?
Yeah, who's the overlay maker?
Just use your imagination.
Yeah, imagine it's up there.
So,
Anyways, a lot of guys, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the first World Wide Web server was a Next Cube. And Steve actually got to see it in real life, except behind glass, right?
yeah, it was in the, I believe it was the London Museum of Science or the Science Museum, forget the exact name of it. You'll look it up online. And behind the glass, or plexiglass or whatever, they have the Next Cube with the monitor or the keyboard and the mouse and that sticker on it that says, "Do not turn off, this is a web server." And so, just a common misconception, people were saying, "Oh, happy 30 years internet." Well, no, the internet is a different thing. The World Wide Web is the resources, the connect the server and everything, and the internet is the connectivity between it all.
Well, that was a protocol on the internet.
Pretty much. In the truest sense, the World Wide Web is the, the device that has all the documents on it.
And just so I can be clear, the internet has been around since like the 60s.
Exactly.
ARPANET.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's why everyone was, being a little incorrect there. And I admit I refer to things incorrectly all the time. But,
well, Al Gore invented the internet, so.
Yes. And I invented iPod socks. So.
But your question was, discuss your first World Wide Web experience and the favorite old sites that are gone.
Okay.
There's only one
That's
I
a
can
good
think
one.
of, really.
Go ahead, Jay.
And that's, I used to be crazy about Version Tracker.
Oh, yeah.
That was an awesome website. I would go there
I
and get
missed
all
that.
the free goodies, and it was awesome. And
That was a fantastic one.
the Apple website, too.
Well,
See
to
what
be honest with you, my first experience with the World Wide Web was actually on a PC. So I can't say it was, But I used Netscape, I think was my first one. And this was under Windows 3.1. Okay, where you had to actually manually configure everything, and it was dial-up. So, you had to do the dial-up thing.
Fun.
I think my max speed at time was 14.4, 14.4K. So, yeah. And the best website I used to go to on there, probably at the time, and I can't even remember, actually, to be honest with you. I think Yahoo or Alta Vista was the two biggest search engines.
Excite was out. Excite and Yahoo. But what I think is funny is Grudy over there going, "Yep," and he wasn't even born when 3.1 was around.
Yeah, I was.
No, you weren't. You
Yes,
couldn't even
I
get on the
was.
internet. What were you, in diapers?
Yeah.
Windows
I used-
3.1.
I used 311 for work groups at my dad's office until he upgraded in 2004.
Oh, my God.
So I remember being
You got lucky.
mystified with the internet because my father had a computer plugged in. I think it was the PowerMax 7500. And he had a Global Village 56K modem. I think before that it was a Super Mac 33K modem or whatever. So because he had work to do, he always had some sort of an internet connection when it became fairly popular. And I just remember
the U.S. Robotics.
Yeah, maybe it was the U.S. Robotics one. I forget exactly which one it was. But I remember signing on to AOL and getting, downloading, video game related stuff. And the only thing I could download was like MIDIs that were like 200 kilobytes or something, because like it was so slow to download anything. But speaking of websites that I wish were back, there was one that the URL still exists, but it doesn't have the same stuff anymore. There was one called Jag House or Jag's House, and it was just this guy who used to repair Macs, I think, and he just had a lot of software and goodies and drivers and things you just like really couldn't find elsewhere.
Didn't you try to contact him? To see
Yes, I found him on Facebook, and I sent him a message. He looked at the message, but he never responded. Because I was, this stuff isn't archived, unfortunately, on the Internet Archive or anything. So I was curious if he had an old FTP backup or whatever. And I kick myself because back in the day, I remember my friend had some software on his PC that would just download archives and the whole tree of a website. And I asked him to download Jag's House and homepage of Gamba, which was another one that had a lot of old downloads on it, and he did one but not the other. So so that was just like one of those, these things are like lost to the ages, like Version Tracker. There was a lot of goodies there. Now if you look for a demo of some piece of software, unless it's on Macintosh Garden or somewhere, you're sort of out of luck.
Yeah, my earliest memories would be my dad and mom got a Windows 95 computer back in late 95. And that's
couldn't be any earlier than that.
Yeah. But anyway, it was an AST Advantage. And that's when they made their first AOL accounts. And it had like a 33K modem built into it. Pretty darn fast for the time. Then, as the time went along, I remember growing up with one of my friends. She had two lines, one for phone and for dial-up. And she downloaded from Napster, and she used ICQ, and I remember we once made a GeoCities website. And there's a lot of good memories. I was on dial-up until probably 2005. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I still found some of my Angel Fire sites are still up there.
I don't really remember what in school, it was just research and kind of what you do in the library. And there were
somebody saying audio echo. Is that on the stream or?
No, here.
Rut, you are echoing. I don't see how I can. B.
Let me mute this. Yeah.
We just need hold music.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how it's doing it. It
sounds like GT's echoing. I'm just listening to it.
I don't see how, though. That's the problem.
Apparently we're all echoing.
Are we?
Interesting.
I just muted.
I'll mute.
Okay, I'm going to help.
Okay, so how about now?
All right. All right, I'm unmuted right now, so let's see if the echo's still there.
I just unmuted.
All right. Now I'm hearing
the echo is still there.
Yeah. It's not me.
I wonder if it might be
before GT, and the only thing you had to do is end the call and come back in and fix it.
Well, let me end on my end here. I'm not going to end it on the stream, but let me see.
Okay. Well, be here. Oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
I'm back. Hopefully the echo is gone.
Let me check.
I'm still hearing somebody in the background, so...
yeah, it was definitely GT that did it.
Well, that's weird, because...
I muted. It's not me.
That's weird.
All right, I think we're good to go.
Okay. I think we're good now.
The glories of the internet.
Yeah.
The glories of group FaceTime. You know, we've experienced just about everything on this so
Hey,
far.
it's better than the AOL talk feature I used to use, the dial-up voice chat.
Oh my
Lag
God.
is anything.
Yeah,
But
You
like I
had
was
to
saying,
bring
in
that up.
James
school-
goes. Tim
in
Cook's
school it was all
sabotaging the yak.
research, but at home, when I got internet at home, I didn't do anything useful. It was all Napster, LimeWire, any kind of file sharing I could get my hands on.
I used to do
Yeah.
the same thing. I used to download files like crazy. I used to download Wares. If you remember that, the old name.
And pretty
Yeah.
much as soon as I got my
That and I
Yeah.
had this OS 9 app. It was called Homer 2.0. That was
Everybody
Homer
remember
Simpson.
Elf Bowling?
And,
Oh,
and you
yeah.
would,
Yeah.
you would move your mouse around and stick it in Homer's face, and he would go and eat the cursor and burp it back out. And he'd have all kinds of quips like, "How could you tell who's sane and who's insane?"
Yeah.
and I started video
I have it
conferencing
somewhere. I
in
have to dig it up.
1999. So
Wow.
that took up pretty much.
He used to put
Every-
stuff like that on the
every
good old
day.
zip disk back then. Till they went click.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to our next subject here. We told you guys that we were going to talk about this later. Boot camp. Okay,
Yeah.
how do we use it? Who do you use it? And things to look out for.
Well, I used to use it.
Well, I could say that I have probably the most knowledge when it comes to making Windows 10 work on any Intel Mac.
Oh, really?
Really? Because
That's
I
quite a
made it.
claim, son.
Yeah,
Yeah, no kidding. Because I'm
think
running
Rocky-
Windows 10 on here.
I think Rocky and I are pretty much experts on that too.
Yeah, but GT, you're on supported hardware. Rocky and I aren't.
No,
True.
I mean Windows 10 will actually run on that. That's actually supported.
Yeah, exactly. So you just have to click a button and install the drivers.
Well,
No, actually, that's not true. Not true because here's the thing about
Display.
the thing about Boot Camp, is that Apple does not update their stupid drivers
Yeah.
ever. Okay. They only update them when a new version of the OS comes out. So, for instance, we're still working on Boot Camp drivers back when Mojave first came out. Okay, and they won't release any new ones until the next version, whichever it's going to be, 10.15, whatever it is. So that's the problem with it. So one of the problems I have with Boot Camp, because I use it a lot, because I do iRacing a lot, and it only runs on Windows, and that's the only thing I actually use Windows for is to game. So what I do is I go to bootcampdrivers.com and download the latest AMD graphics drivers and install them. And it's a pain in the butt to install. It's a whole procedure you actually have to follow.
Yeah.
In other words, you have to uninstall the drivers that you already have, get Windows 10 into safe
I
mode.
agree.
You have to hold down the Alt key when you're doing it. It's a whole bunch of different things to get it to work properly. But once you do get it working, it works a lot better on Mac hardware than it does on Windows or PC hardware.
I agree.
What I think was funny is I used to go to booths. If they had a computer, they would have like a MacBook Pro or an iMac.
Dying here for some reason. Hold on.
Yeah, the
Just
YouTube's
got,
spinning. Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, we're back.
Nope, it's because now I have
Fix it before I forget the point I was going to make.
because my internet connection is still going strong. Hold on, let me check to make sure.
Okay.
And it's still going in and out. We're having issues right now with YouTube. I think this is actually a YouTube issue. I don't exactly. And I'm only pushing it at 40,000 kilobits per second. I'm not
It was working totally fine.
I'm going to stop.
Switch instead.
Nope. Okay, I'm at green again. I just stopped it and started it again. Now, this actually is a new version of Wirecast, so I'm going to blame Jay on this one.
Okay, I think it's back. Yeah.
Okay.
We're good.
So, what I wanted to say was, damn, I forgot.
All right. I just started and stopped and started again, so we'll see if that fixes it.
Might be some of this weather affecting a data center.
It could be. I don't know. But
That's a good point.
It's back green again. Now it's fading in and out between yellow. So it's actually the YouTube connection.
I was about to say, I just have to talk really fast.
Oh,
Do you
wow,
record locally at all? Because
you lost internet, so I don't know what we're gonna do here, guys, because this is
Skype.
I'm
no,
back up.
it's not.
I know. I'm joking.
Let me pull up a YouTube video over on my other computer here. See if it's
Are you
actually...
thinking we're gonna have to go Twitch? I said it. Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
That's lovely.
I think we're having...
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
That's not good.
All right, so
Twitch?
Nah, I don't have a Twitch channel to stream this on, to be honest with you.
I have one I could give you a login
I think
for.
what we should do is just.
I think that's probably the best bet. Yeah, James said we crashed YouTube.
Thanks, Dan.
Oh, okay.
Jay's there. Sorry, Dan.
That's all right.
Yeah, we're gonna have to, because it's just going in and out. I mean, it's not me. It's before this started happening. I only had, for the hour and a half, I only had 43 drop frames total. Okay. I'm getting 0 drop frames. Maybe they're having that same Facebook issue that they had yesterday.
Yep.
Maybe.
Well, Facebook got DDoS, didn't they?
They claimed they didn't, but
And what there's no reason a DDoS attack should take somebody down.
Like Cloudflare, the bottlenecks are so freaking.
It comes in and out. So I don't know how this is going to look when we finish with it, but I think we just need to go ahead and save the rest of our topics for next week.
Yeah, we did a lot with the boot camp, getting mine going. So it was Greg's videos.
End graphic here. Hopefully, it might catch it. I don't know, but
my first week for my gaming segment.
Exactly.
All right, guys. We'll catch you all later. Take care. We'll see you next week on episode number 16.